welcome back to my channel. It's been a bit, because of school, which I'm going to talk about. So I just finished my fall semester of my sophomore year at college, and I thought I would do a bit of a wrap-up or kind of like reflection video about how things were, or just like the classes that I took, and like the books that I read for those classes and the textbooks for them and whatnot. So I'll be doing this, and then I'll also be doing a kind of like a wrap up of the books that I read outside of like school and required reading. So yeah, let's just get into that. So the way that my school is structured is that you generally take four credit classes, and those are kind of like your core classes, classes for your major, classes for gen ed, classes for any minors you're hoping to have and complete, and then after that you can take a number of credits that are like elective based, or like 1 or 2 credit classes that are kind of like extracurriculars. So this past semester I took 4 credit classes, and then I took 3 1-credit classes. So the first class that I was in was called Physics of Music. This was a general education requirement. It's for a science requirement. And basically it's just learning about the physics of music, which I find really interesting as someone who's a singer and has been in choir for a very long time. Like, that was something that I wanted to know more about. It's for non-majors, so like we have physics classes that are offered at our school that are for physics and math majors, but this one is more for people who are just looking to get that general requirement out of the way. The next class that I want to talk about is my Modern European Art class, which I took because I had initially planned on double majoring in English and art history, and this class helped me realize I didn't want to major at all in art history, which is nice, because now I know that. The class itself was just supposed to discuss modern art in the 20th century, which it did. So the class started with Impressionists and Expressionism, and then it kind of went on to Cubism with Picasso and George Braque, and then kind of split off, and we looked at like Constructivism, and then German modern art, and Italian Futurism, and so just like all these different ways that art became more abstract, which was really cool. The next class that I'm going to talk about was called Fundamentals of Movement, and this is difficult to explain. A lot of times I just call it an experiential anatomy class, which is what it is. It's about learning about your anatomy and like learning how you move through moving. So it satisfied like a PE credit for me, but also I've been curious about the dance minor, and this is also something that would be part of a dance minor. So the class itself, we learned about our bones, our joints, like the different types of movement that our joints can do. Yeah, that was a fun class that I went in not knowing a ton about. So the last class that I want to talk about is the one that has the most books, because it is my English class. The English class that I took this semester was called The Victorians, and it basically was just us reading Victorian literature and discussing it through different lenses. So the textbooks that were assigned to us were first the Norton Anthology of English Literature, The Victorian Age, Volume E. So this just has all the poetry that we read, except some poems by Michael Field. And then we also read The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson in here. We then read, and this is in no particular order, this isn't the order that we read it in. So we read George Eliot's Silas Marner, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll, Lady Audley's Secret by Mary Elizabeth Braddon, Cassandra by Florence Nightingale, Cranford by Elizabeth Gaskell, and then this chunker, Bleak House by Charles Dickens. So this class was by far my favorite of the semester and probably my favorite English class that I've taken thus far. I completely forgot. We also read The Picture of Dorian Gray. So those were the four main classes that I took. Each of those classes I had 6 hours a week. So some of them I had an hour Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Others I had for an hour and a half on Tuesday and Thursday. And then the 1 credit classes that I took, I'll talk to you about now. So the first one is my choir course. I'm in the treble choir at my school, and we meet twice a week for half an hour. We had 2 concerts this semester, which was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed that. The other class that I was in was a vocal performance workshop, which is a class where you have roughly 5 to 7 students, 5 to 7 singers, and we learn solos, duets, group pieces from different areas and combine it into a show. And then the last class that I took is less of a class and more something that I got credit for, and this was a dance performance. So every semester our school puts on a student choreographed dance performance. In the fall this is run by the department and you can get credit for, whereas in the spring it's run by students as well and you don't get credit for it. So I'd done this in last spring and I really enjoyed it, and so I auditioned to be in it again in the fall and I got in. And so I was part of one dance for that show. So I hope you enjoyed my little wrap-up of my semester. It was by far the most academically stressful semester that I've had, which is okay. Nothing wrong with that. And I'll see you in another video.